Hey guys, John from Badger Security and Survival, and we got a hot seat for you this week. We're going to hit up Aaron on some hard questions, see how he does. Let's do this.
All right, so question for you. Eastern Interconnection gets hit by a cyber attack. It's been verified as a terrorist attack. Their whole grid is down. What do you do?
Well, I think the regular person is thinking, go to the bank or go to an ATM and pull their money out. I'm thinking paper's money, or money is paper, and I'm thinking of going home and filling up a bladder, or even if you don't have a bladder for your tub, I would fill my tub up full of water. I mean, the first thing I'm thinking is the electrical grid is going to go down.
Where we're at, correct?
We're talking about whole overload system. Even if you're on the West Coast and you have nothing to do with the East Coast, I think it's fair to assume that the attack's never over. Just like we learned on 9/11, first tower got hit, right? Everybody thought it was over. Second tower got hit, Pentagon got hit, and then you got Flight 93. So I mean, everything comes in waves. If they're planning something, they're planning multiple of whatever it is. So it's fair to assume that your grid is next. Your accounts on all that stuff. I mean, from what I understand, the government already has that stuff backed up on huge, massive servers, all financial data. That's why 9/11 didn't work. I mean, the towers went down because they thought they were going to cripple our economy. That wasn't true.
Okay, what are your forms of communication? Because if our grid goes down,
Sure.
obviously your Verizon cell service and
Telephones
and
everything's gone. Yep.
and TVs and all that's going down. So
Sure.
what is your way to communicate with your team and or family and have a way to receive information on what's going on?
Well, if you have the time and the money, I mean, you can invest in a ham radio. I don't have either of those for that. And there's a lot that goes about it. You have to get licensing for a ham radio. And you end up paying taxes on it, stuff like that. You say the wrong thing, they can revoke your license. The government, the FCC. But anyways, that's always a really good one. If you don't, then you go down to smaller comms. Even handheld radios, or like a CB radio, which are very common. Even if you don't have one, you see an abandoned truck on the side of the road or anything like that, semi. It's got a ham radio. If you look at any DOT vehicle, it's going to have a CB radio. So I mean, those are things to watch out for. If you can get one, get one. Don't risk your life for it. You can always guarantee there's going to be somebody in town that has a ham radio, and if as a town, if you can band together, that's always good because you have that one person that has that information coming in. But that's a lot longer down the road. So if it's immediate, I have to make a decision right now on what to do. I'm going home. I'm filling up my tubs, my sinks with water, first and foremost, before anything else, because I can't cook any of my food and I can't live past 3 days without water. So that's the first thing I'm going to do.
And what are your plans? So along with this electrical system failure,
Sure.
it's safe to say that chaos is going to follow it, with people freaking out that aren't prepared or that don't know what to do, that are scared. What comes along with preparing for chaos on the population side?
Oh, if you want to prepare for anything, look for a small town. That's first and foremost. I know how ridiculous that sounds. I mean, you're just up and moving. But if you're in a city, it's a lot harder to have a mayor or a governor inform that city without any communications whatsoever to keep calm, and we have a plan. Now, if you have a smaller city or a smaller town, it doesn't even have to be a small town, just a small city will work just fine. You have a lot more cooperation going on. People will initially freak out no matter what. The mosquitoes coming out here, man. That's the first thing I'll do is kill off all these mosquitoes. Anyways, the first thing is communication. You're always going to have that one person in a crowd, and it's infectious. Fear is infectious. So if you calm that one person, especially in a small town environment, your numbers are going to count way more than just by yourself. So it's about getting everybody on the same side here. So I mean, that's the best way I can put it. I mean, you just have to kind of calm fears as they come. You usually have leadership within the town stand up and they'll say something. I know there's actually a lot of towns and cities that actually have emergency setup procedures, stuff like that, which includes like block bosses or something like that, where basically you have people that represent your community, whatever section of town you're on. They can all meet with the mayor, and then they get back to their, and it keeps that communication going. So unfortunately, not every city thinks like that, or every town. So again, it's going to be numbers that plays in your advantage.
Involved with that.
Exactly.
So for us who decide bugging out, okay, so you said bugging in is the first thing, and so when would you bug out if that is in your contingency plan? When would you bug out in this kind of contingency?
If I lived in a major metropolis, I would leave. Period.
Immediately.
Immediately. I wouldn't even mess with that. I lived in Colorado, so if I lived in Highlands Ranch, which is right outside of Metro City, Denver, I would leave. I'm not even going to mess with any of that. You can stay. I mean, you can always wait it out if you want to, but every hour you take is an hour you didn't have leaving. So you kind of have to weigh that. Your major metropolitan centers, though, they need constant transportation. Those trucks that come in every day to the grocery store, those are going to be gone. Let's say the East Coast gets hit and Central and West Coast are fine. You're still losing all major trade routes, all major food routes on the East Coast. So much of our fishing comes from the East Coast alone. I mean, it's crazy what we'll lose offhand. The things you have today, you won't have tomorrow. But anyways, back to the question, major metropolises. If I lived in a small town, the only reason I would look at leaving, maybe either one, that the town is starting to turn in on itself. Usually you don't get that with small towns because people know each other. They're friends. Or the other scenario, number two, I guess I would think of would be if a larger group tries to come in and take over the area. That's where you kind of have to get together as a town and figure out, are we going to fight these guys or are we going to leave? When you leave, you always expect to lose the majority of your people. You got to think about when you're leaving. Because you might leave and it's right on the cusp of winter and you have nothing. So sometimes it's better to fight it out, and that's all you can do. But you also have to figure out what the intentions of the group are. That's where kind of communications comes in again. If the group is just a bunch of people leaving a metropolis, like Minneapolis or something like that. If it's just a bunch of people leaving Minneapolis, then it's fair to say that they're probably not violent, but they're still going to be grazing. So, if you leave your house unattended, if you have fields, if you're a farm or anything like that, it's all going to be picked. I can guarantee it. It's going to go through. And there's some other ways, obviously, you can make your house look like it's already been picked through. That way nobody will pick through it. You can get into that, but there's always a good contingency, and it just depends on you and your community and what you guys are willing to do.
Hey guys, there you have it. Great answers for a hard question. Aaron did a great job. If you like what you see, please click like and subscribe. Drop some comments below. Let us know how we did for this video and future videos. And until next time, make yourself ready.